I am chronically, embarrassingly bad at it. That's not an urban legend, that's published research. It is eye-wateringly expensive for a hair tool. Despite what you might think, I don't love spending money on beauty or fashion, even though I love them both. But this channel exists because I love testing things. Like trying new products is basically my favorite hobby. And what I've learned from doing that for years is that expensive does not automatically mean better. Usually it's nowhere close. But every so often, it absolutely does. So today I'm showing you 5 of those exceptions, 5 things that have earned an expensive, permanent place in my life. Like I would pay full price for every single one of them without blinking. So by the end of this, you'll know exactly why each one earned its place and maybe which one you should splurge on yourself. Okay, quick disclaimer before we get into it. This isn't a flex video. I'm not sharing this stuff to show off. And I realize that not everyone is in a position to spend on things like this. Trust me, I know how lucky I am. But every single thing on this list had to earn its place through actual, repeated, real-life use. And I'll be upfront about something else too. Some of these items I paid for and some were gifted. But here is my only real rule. Gifted or not, it only makes this list if I would happily buy it myself at full price without hesitation. So we are going inside out today. Supplements to skin to hair to something to wear and something you sleep on. And the last one might be the one that surprises you the most. So we're going to start off where I begin every single morning, swallowing something in the name of not aging. Number 1 is Do Not Age, specifically their longevity sachet. So for years, my supplement drawer looked like a small pharmacy. NMN, TMG, Cert6 activator, magnesium, K2 and D3 and CoQ10 and resveratrol. The list goes on. And I paid for all of those separately, but I kind of had to juggle them because I couldn't afford to take everything that I wanted all at one time. And then this year, Do Not Age launched this. 15 healthy aging ingredients in one little sachet you mix with water and you take every morning. But here's the thing. It's not just giving me back the 7 ingredients I was already taking. It's giving me a whole handful of others I simply just couldn't justify buying on top of everything else, which I already couldn't afford. So this isn't even just consolidating, it's actually upgrading. So yes, the sachet runs just over $200 a month, but buying those 15 ingredients individually would run about $680 a month. I mean, who can do that? Not me. I mean, the funny thing is, just one of the ingredients alone, which is their Cert6 activator, costs about $200 a month by itself. That's almost exactly what the entire sachet costs, which means if you think about it, all the other 14 ingredients are essentially free. So something I learned just this week about the Cert6 activator, it was just chosen by a research team in Singapore that is the finalist for some health span competition. It's a $100 million global competition trying to reverse 10 years of age-related decline in people between the ages of 50 and 90. And they have to do this by 2029. So independent scientists get to choose whatever ingredients they want for their own trial. And they picked the Cert6 activator to be a part of it. So this has nothing to do with Do Not Age. They're not paying for it. It just happens to be the thing the scientists felt were good enough to make this test. This is not sponsored, by the way. I have purchased Do Not Age for years. So when they launched this, I wasn't gambling on some unknown brand. Like I already trusted them. And selfishly, my favorite part is still the convenience factor. There's no pill organizer, no counting capsules. I just throw a handful of these sachets in my suitcase and I'm done. I mean, this has already gone to New York twice, to California, to Lisbon, to London. Now, there still are a few others I'm taking that aren't in it, like creatine, omega-3s, collagen peptides, and calcium, but it is a much shorter list than it used to be. But here's the real reason why I take any of these supplements. It's not vanity. It's not about making myself look good. I'm investing in my long-term health. Like I'm spending money now in hopes of spending a lot less on medical bills down the road. That's the bet. It's an automatic reorder, no hesitation. If supplements are what I'm doing for what's happening inside, the next category is where I obsess over what's happening on the outside, my skin. So number 2 solves a different problem. I don't want needles on my face. No Botox, no fillers, nothing. I'm just Not ready for that. So if I want real visible results on my skin, devices are the only lever I've got to pull, which means I have to actually believe in them, not just own them. Like, there is so much crap out there in the device world, and believe me, I've tried a lot of it. But I wholeheartedly believe some of these things actually work. And for me, at the very tippy top of that list is LED. Like, I have been flying the red light therapy flag on this channel for years. Here's actually why it works. It's not just a nice glow. Red and near infrared light gets absorbed into your cell's mitochondria. Think of that as your cell's power plants, and it just kicks them into producing more energy. That extra energy wakes up fibroblasts, which are the cells responsible for making collagen and elastin. More active fibroblasts means more collagen over time, which is the actual unsexy science behind firmer skin. It also calms inflammation and helps form new blood vessels, which is why it speeds up healing and recovery too. One well-designed clinical study showed wrinkle reduction of up to 36% with consistent use. That's not an urban legend, that's published research. And within LED, to me, the Mesama Aura head-to-heart combo is hands down the winner. Like, I take this thing with me everywhere. It is the Rolls Royce of LED, and in my opinion, it is worth every single penny of that $873 price tag. You don't have to buy them both, by the way. You can just buy one if you want. So now, your preferred device might be something completely different. Microcurrent, radio frequency, laser, any of it. This just happens to be mine. Pick whatever modality actually speaks to you and invest properly in it, like whatever is the best product that you can afford, and use it religiously, and it will work. Okay, so that's what's happening on the outside, like on the skin. But there's one area I've had to completely rethink recently, and it happened entirely by accident. Number 3 isn't really about one specific tool. It's about whatever tool solves your specific hair problem. Now, for me, that problem has always been blow drying my hair straight, like my own hair myself. I am chronically, embarrassingly bad at it. It's not even funny. I mean, I'm 55 and I've been trying to do this for donkey's years, and I just can't do it with the hairbrush and a hairdryer. So years ago, I discovered what a device like the Dyson Airstraight could actually do. From wet to dry to perfectly straight in one pass. I was obsessed. Now, funny story, actually. I didn't even start with the Dyson. I bought a secondhand GHD Duet first. Same principle, same bit of magic. I used that thing into the ground. I mean, I actually killed it. So when it came time to replace it, I splurged on the Mac Daddy version, the Dyson Airstraight itself. It is eye-wateringly expensive for a hair tool. I think it cost about $500, and it's worth every freaking penny. It's just this past weekend, I chopped some layers into my hair, and that means my entire styling routine had to change overnight. Like, pin straight and layers do not mix. So the Dyson is going to get put away for a little while, and what took its place is an old favorite. It is the Lange Le Duo. So where I was relying on Dyson to straighten my hair, I have actually used this for years to curl it. I mean, nothing beats this for a beachy wave. It's actually what created the waves for my own wedding. And yes, I did my own hair. In fact, I've also used this today. Not too bad, right? So this isn't a new discovery, but boy, is it one I'm relying on now. It was never an everyday tool, and now I'm using it every time I wash my hair. It's part curling iron and part flat iron with titanium plates. And the thing I like so much about it is it has a cooling fan, which keeps the heat down, and it helps to set the curl. So this retails for about $120. Now, it's a fraction of the Dyson, but it is no less valuable to me. And now, where I used to use it maybe once every couple of weeks, I'm now using it a few times a week, and I could not be without it. So really, the lesson kind of buried in this whole category is any device that guarantees you a good hair day is worth the money. So whether it's $75 or $500, I will pay it every single time, because there is just nothing better than a good hair day, and nothing worse than a bad one. Okay, from something that I put in my hair, we're moving on to something I put on. And this is one I feel very strongly about. Number 4 isn't beauty at all, not skincare or hair care. It's actually jewelry. And interestingly, this is a habit I only picked up recently, like around my 50th birthday. Like, up until that point, I was a silver girl through and through. Nothing but silver and lots of it. Like, I've always always been a jewelry person. In fact, while I love skincare and fashion, jewelry is actually my Achilles heel. So for some strange reason, on my 50th birthday, maybe I was feeling a little sentimental. It was right in the middle of COVID, who knows? I pulled out some pieces that belonged to my grandmother. Gold pieces. And like, I've never worn them because they're gold. It just wasn't my metal. But something was kind of tugging on me that day, and I decided to put them on. And that's when I realized gold actually suits my skin better. I'm warm toned. Who knew? So I started slowly building a collection. Chains, charms, bracelet, rings, all solid gold. Not gold plated, not vermeil, not gold filled, solid all the way through. There are a small handful of sellers in the UK that I buy from, all from Instagram, so they're easy to find. And I've just gotten to know them over time. I trust them implicitly. If I'm after something specific, they'll actually help me source it. People ask me in the comments all the time about my jewelry. I know what you're looking for, which is a link, but I can't give you one. Like, these pieces are antiques, they're one of a kind, there's no restocking them. And these bracelets, like, I never take them off. I sleep in them, I shower in them, I swim in them. Now, my necklaces and my charms, they rotate daily depending on my mood. But some version of gold is on me almost every single day. Now, I do realize that this is silver here, but this was also a granny's and it was just given to me this year, so I can't take it off. Is this gold more expensive than plated jewelry? Of course it is, absolutely. But that stuff has a lifespan. It's a gold coating that's only a few microns thick, and it wears through eventually, leaving you with slightly sad, discolored object. Solid gold doesn't do that. It doesn't tarnish, it doesn't flake. If anything, it holds its value or gains value. Gold's actually even more expensive now than it was when I started collecting, so I'm not buying much these days. It's a good thing I kind of built up enough pieces early on so that I can mix and match with my wardrobe. The truth is, the joy of this isn't really about the money at all. It's just that the gold ended up being my metal 50 years into figuring that out. And it's such a bummer because it is more expensive, but I'm worth it. Okay, last one. Now, if gold is precious, so is sleep, which is exactly where the next one comes in. And I promise you, this is not one anybody probably expects. Number 5 is my pillow. It's not glamorous, I know, but it is probably the most valuable thing on this entire list. About 3 years ago, I started sleeping on my back purely for vanity reasons. Like, my chest wrinkles were just getting deep, and I wanted to stop them before they became permanent. It took almost 2 years to find the right method and the right pillow. And the one that made the cut is the Alla by Sleep and Glow. It just cradles my head so well so it doesn't flop around. And the neck support sits at exactly the right height. Like, this is where every other pillow got it wrong over the years. There was either not enough support or the support was just kind of in the wrong place. And back sleeping itself has turned out to be a lot more than just about my chest wrinkles. It gives my body even weight distribution. It keeps my head and my neck and spine like a natural alignment overnight. There's less pressure on my neck and back muscles. It just means you have fewer aches. It's even helped with sinus pressure when I'm a bit congested. Like, in general, I just sleep better. There's less tossing, less turning, and less waking up in the middle of the night. And I know this will sound a little princess, but I only sleep with silk pillowcases. Full stop. Like, it's better for my hair, it's better for my skin. So the silk pillowcase upgrade wasn't really an optional one. So the version I have, which includes the mulberry silk pillowcase, is $295. I do have a discount code for that one, by the way. But my chest wrinkles, gone. My necklines, I mean, they're nearly non-existent, which genuinely surprises people when they hear my age. I mean, at 55, there's not a whole lot going on there. And I honestly think the pillow has loads to do with that. Now, my only complaint is that I can't travel with it. Like, it's just too big. If I could find a way to fold that up and stick it in the suitcase, I would. I actually keep a separate pillow at my parents' house when I go home to visit. That is how much I rely on it. So there they are. Supplements, devices, hair, gold, and a pillow. Like 5 completely different categories, one thing in common. Every single one of those has earned a place through real life use. None of this is about having money to burn. It's about figuring out where your money actually changes something and where it's just expensive packaging. Now, I would love to know from you, what's your one expensive thing that you would buy again tomorrow, no hesitation? I would love to hear. You know, I read every single comment, so please leave them down for me below. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Bye. And if you like this video, YouTube thinks you're going to like this next one.